What's up, everyone? It's your boy, the Hater, up in this. And it's a wrestling weekend. You know what that means? That means Hater's going to be watching some wrestling. Now, last night, I should say, they had the NXT element of this weekend, right? I didn't watch it. The only thing I like in NXT is Braun Breaker. I like a lot of people. It turns out I like all the champions because I like Cameron Grimes, who I guess lost his title apparently, Braun Breaker, and the Creed brothers, who are awesome. I've been saying that since day one, when everyone else was saying how like NXT 2.0 was horrible and all that stuff. I was saying that Creed brothers rule and that they're pretty much the highlight of that Diamond Mine group. Luckily, the Japanese guy and Malcolm Bivens, also known as Stokely Hathaway, got released. And Roderick Strong, as far as I'm concerned, this guy hasn't been in the company for years because nobody cares about him. So that's what happened over there. Joe Gacy, I don't like his new gimmick. You know, I was more of a fan of his PG thing, but it is what it is. Let's talk about Hell in a Cell, all right? Now, this is the first pay-per-view where we're just pretty much accepting the fact that Roman Reigns is just not going to be a wrestler anymore. I mean, let's be real, right? Like, last pay-per-view, he was at least in a six-man tag. I consider it to be one of the worst pay-per-views of all time, but this one might beat it. The only thing that this has going for it is the fact that there's a Hell in a Cell match. I mean, that's kind of good, I guess, because there's, you know, Hell in a Cell is Hell in a Cell at the end of the day, right? Like, some cool things might happen, you know? And the fact that it's a pay-per-view, which means that someone could return. Let's say Bray Wyatt returns, who knows, right? You know, people could return. Now, I don't want Bray Wyatt to return, just to make that clear, but people could return. But beyond that, the card's looking really weak, and I have no interest in watching any of this. Maybe there's like two matches that I want to see. First of all, we've got Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin in a no-holds-barred match. I think both of these guys are big, strong guys, so they could have just put it in Hell in a Cell. You already got the cage right there, right? The pay-per-view is called Hell in a Cell, but whatever, it is what it is. They just want to do a normal match. Then we have Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan versus the Judgment Day, which is Edge, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley. Obviously, I'm interested in this. I love Judgment Day. I like the fact that Edge got a haircut now. He looks like Clay from Sons of Anarchy a little bit, you know? He's got that weird long head shape. He looks almost like a devil. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but he has this you know, like Lucifer thing going for him, and I really dig it, you know? Rhea Ripley, I think it's a waste of time. But it's interesting because it's a six-person mixed tag match. That's interesting in and of itself, right? Like, I could see Edge like spearing Liv Morgan or something, you know what I mean? But my prediction is that Finn Balor is going to just join Judgment Day. I think that's a horrible idea. Finn Balor sucks. But that's what I see happening, right? I see pretty much like AJ Styles continuing to be screwed by Judgment Day. I guess Liv Morgan could join, but I mean, nobody wants to see that. Nobody will see any of this. I just want to see Edge become world champion. But it is what it is. I have a feeling Finn Balor is going to turn. You know, the demon fits right in, kind of, you know. And Edge can cut a promo on Monday being like, you know, Judgment Day, like I'm the devil, let's say, and this is my demon, or whatever the case may be, right? So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, there's good wrestlers in the match. There's Edge, Damian Priest, and AJ Styles, and I guess to a certain extent Finn Balor. I mean, I don't like him, but you know, AJ Styles is great, so that's that. Then we have Theory and Mustafa Ali in the obligatory mid-card match for a mid-card meaningless title for the U.S. Championship. Now, here's the problem with this. There was a point where the U.S. title was prestigious. This point was in WCW. And then afterwards, when they reintroduced it, they did try really hard to make it mean something, right? By having people like Guerrero and, you know, Benoit and Rhino, like solid mid-carders wrestling for the title, you know what I mean? Solid mid-card guys at that time, right? This is like right before all these guys became main eventers too. So the timing was perfect, and obviously it was done on purpose, right? The philosophy was Eddie Guerrero is going to be the U.S. champion until it's time for him to become the world champion, right? And this puts over the title. But since those days, since the days of Eddie Guerrero and Benoit versus Booker T, Randy Orton was involved briefly a little bit, you know. I mean, he didn't really win it for himself, but he won it for Booker T. But the point is, since the times, and Booker T is another one who also became world champion shortly after becoming U.S. champion, right? It was like a legit title. We've got from those wrestlers that I just mentioned, those legends, to Theory, who, you know, I understand they're high on this guy. They think he's going to be the next big thing. I don't know. It's too early for me to tell. I mean, he could be the next big thing, or he could be the next Grayson Waller. That's possible too. You know, I'm not really sold on the idea that this guy's like there yet. You know what I mean? Like, he's not really charismatic or anything. He looks kind of like an idiot. I'm not saying he is an idiot, but he has like the face of an idiot. So, you know, like there are some severe handicaps that he has, right? I guess his face goes well with his character because he's kind of an idiot. He plays the character of an idiot, but it is what it is. On the other side of the card, we have Mustafa Ali, who, I mean, a serious argument can be made that Mustafa Ali is the worst wrestler of the last 15 years. Like, a serious argument can be made that this guy keeps getting chance after chance after chance to do something. It never amounts to anything. He's horrible on the mic, right? He doesn't have any exciting moves. Or he does a reverse 540 or 450, whatever. Who the hell cares? Who wants to see this guy wrestle ever again? Not me, I'll tell you that, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? But Mustafa Ali, this guy is everything wrong with wrestling. He has that entitled attitude. There's an entire video I did about Mustafa Ali. Maybe it's time to do one again. Because just as I thought we were like done with this asshole, you know, he's back. Back for more jobbery. Like, I don't see him winning. I don't see him ever being a champion of any sort. I mean, he could, and it wouldn't mean anything because the U.S. title is completely meaningless. But the facts are what the facts are. Mustafa Ali has no business being here. The fact that he's still employed, even kayfabe-wise, it's like he tried to destroy WWE from within. I mean, unfortunately, he's a jobber, and everyone else in his group was also a jobber. So they destroyed absolutely nothing. They got their asses beat. But, you know, how do they forgive that? And why is he like a normal guy again? You know? What happened to his grudge? He just stopped having the grudge? You know, I know other things have happened since then, but he hasn't been around for a while, and now he's been back for like the last few weeks, and all of a sudden he's like a character all of a sudden, and he's, you know, getting a title shot. I don't know. I think he should be fired. My theory that he was going to go and feud with Cody Rhodes in AEW would have made more sense for him, and also for Cody Rhodes. But before we get to Cody Rhodes, let's talk about Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. Now, I'm not really a fan of this Ezekiel character, and the reason why I'm not a fan is because I was never really a fan of Elias. But if I had to choose one or the other, Elias is better than Ezekiel. He has an interesting look. You know, like not the guitar crap, but like the drifter Elias. Like, this guy could have been something, you know? He's a big, strong guy. He had like that beard, and I could see why he had a beard, because he looks so much older without the beard for some reason, to me at least. You know, like with the beard, he just looks like a guy in his like early to mid 30s who's trying to be hip. And then without the beard, he looks like my lawyer who recently passed away. Actually, rest in peace. Rest in peace, Gary. You were a good man. But yeah. So like, I don't really like Ezekiel that much. I don't see where this is going, and quite honestly, I don't really care. Like, it's like, but I guess it's a good repackaging in the sense that the Elias character was so destroyed that it's much better to just bring him this way. You know, it's either gonna go into like, haha, I was tricking you all along, and I was Ezekiel. I mean, I was Elias, or he's gonna have some sort of split personality nonsense. Right, because they have to address it eventually, or he's just going to be Ezekiel for the rest of his career, which is stupid, but whatever, right? Kevin Owens, another one. I mean, let's be real. This guy needs to be fired. People are saying, oh, who should Cody Rhodes feud with next? Some people are like, I think he should feud with Roman Reigns, which is ridiculous. And some other ones are saying, oh, he should feud with Kevin Owens. And I'm like, I agree. Put them both in a feud, add Sami Zayn and Nakamura in there, and make it so 3 of them get fired at the end of the match. But whatever, it is what it is. Then we have Lashley versus Omos and MVP. The only draw of this match is that MVP is involved, right? However, it's one of those situations where it's like, it's a handicap match, but almost certainly Lashley's going to win. And I think the philosophy is this. Like, I mean, actually, I don't know. I don't know for a fact. I actually think Omos is going to win, but if Lashley wins, he's going to pin MVP. So, like, the out is already there. Lashley can just spear, you know, like Omos once, right? Omos can roll out of the ring, and he can put the hurt lock on MVP, and that's that, you know? And Omos doesn't save any face. But I don't really see the point of Omos. I mean, I think Omos sucks, personally. Lashley's good, but he's getting kind of annoying, so I don't really care about this either. Then we have Bianca Belair versus Asuka versus Becky Lynch. Luckily, there's only one women's match in this entire card, but because this is clearly like a Raw pay-per-view, you know what I mean? These are all Raw people. But, so I guess maybe that's why, like, Roman Reigns isn't in it, technically, because it's like it seems to be like a Raw exclusive for the most part. But for the most part, you know. But here's the problem: like, Roman Reigns has both titles. It's like he should be on every show, let alone every pay-per-view. But whatever. And then after the boring bullshit women's triple threat match, which is a complete waste of time, Bianca Belair is just not a good champion. She was champion last year at WrestleMania, and she got squashed by Becky Lynch. And now basically Becky Lynch did absolutely nothing. And then Bianca Belair came back and beat her. So who the hell cares? And now Asuka's in this. I mean, if I had to choose who becomes champion, it should be Asuka. Like, Asuka's the more entertaining of these 3 broads, but I don't really care about the match whatsoever. Like, I'm going to make sure that I start the event 30 minutes late, at least, probably a few hours late, but I'm going to try to start at least 30 minutes late, so when it's time for this match, I can skip it, you know? Then we have Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match. Now, some rumors are saying that there is no Cody Rhodes because he's injured. I don't know if it's true or not. That's what my friends have been telling me. Either way, who gives a shit? Nobody cares about this match. This is a mid-card match that's being packaged and presented to us as a main event. It's like there was this one pay-per-view back in the day. I don't remember what it was, but the main event was going to be The Rock when he was the corporate champ versus Triple H, who was like with DX at the time. This is before Triple H joined the corporate ministry and The Rock became the People's Champ again. So, you know, this was going to happen, and like I guess Triple H wasn't around or something. He missed a flight. I don't know. He wasn't there. So the impromptu main event became The Rock. This was like at a pay-per-view. Became The Rock versus X-Pac, right? And it's like, dude, like I love X-Pac. One of my favorites, honestly, right? But it's like, X-Pac was like, you know, a European championship caliber wrestler. You know, he was at his highest, which that might have been his highest. He was an upper mid-carder because, you know, he would feud. He was European champion, but he was having significant feuds with like Shane McMahon and things like that. He was like, but at most an upper mid-carder. So like the probability of him beating The Rock is just silly. It's non-existent, you know? So it's not a pay-per-view match. In this case, we have the same problem, except instead of having The Rock and X-Pac, we have X-Pac versus X-Pac. It's like, who cares who wins? They're both mid-card nobodies, you know? Like, the only thing that would make sense would be if they made this match for the number one contendership. Because, like, the entire feud, it's been presented almost like that, right? Where Seth Rollins is somehow deserving of having, like, a match at WrestleMania just by virtue of the fact that he's Seth Rollins and he didn't have one, which was unfair. So Vince McMahon, you know, like, was going to pick his opponent for him, right? And that opponent was Cody Rhodes. So there you have it. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of writes itself in many ways. You know? Like, these guys were presented as a big marquee moment for WrestleMania. So it's like, why aren't they the number one contender? You know, why does Cody Rhodes keep beating Seth Rollins? Like, what does he gain from this? Like, why is Cody Rhodes okay with this? He's made it clear that he wants to be WWE champion. So why the hell does he keep agreeing on wrestling the same guy 3 times? Like, furthermore, from a kayfabe perspective, what allows this match to keep being booked? Right? Like, that's one thing that I don't like about wrestling nowadays, is that they don't really explain how things work. You know, back in the day, you had a general manager, like a real one, not Adam Pearce who comes out and makes one match every three weeks. A real one that would come out, like back in the day, like in the Attitude Era, Shane McMahon or Vince McMahon, whoever it was, would come out with a clipboard, right? The show would start with Vince McMahon coming out and saying, you know, I'm better than everyone here. The corporate ministry is better than everyone here. And, you know, to prove it, we're going to have like Viscera versus like, I don't know, Hardcore Holly, right? We're going to have the Acolytes versus like Edge and Christian. You know, the Dudley Boys got in our way. They weren't there, but you know what I'm saying, right? But we're going to have them fight like Undertaker and Triple H, right? The point is, everything was outlined, right? And it was given purpose. Nowadays, it's just like people just have matches. Like, who decided that this is a match that people want to see? You know, you have to explain these things, cuckolds. But as I've just illustrated, I think, without any doubt, without any reasonable doubt at least, right? This pay-per-view is going to stink and no one's going to like it. You know, I'll probably do a review of it tomorrow if there's anything worthy of reviewing. Like, if everything I say is true, like if everyone sucks and like Finn Balor joins Judgment Day, then who cares? You know what I mean? Like you know my review, it sucked. So there you have it, cuckolds. Stay tuned for more videos. Like and subscribe, and don't be a douche. Do as you're told, motherfuckers. Subscribe to your boy.